Hey, welcome back to another video. More to tell, more stories, more advice. Stick around. Alright, here we go. Sorry, we have to dodge these trees here. They make them especially short here. Anyway, my wife was telling me a story about a guy. I just briefly met him the other day. I was delivering something to him from his employer. I had no idea. Apparently he was working on a tourist visa. I think I mentioned in my last video that that's probably not a good idea. I mean, there's a lot of people that come and do that sort of thing, but you're really rolling the dice, as it turns out in his case. So he was in the middle of a class with some kids, I guess, and the parents all there, and all of a sudden this guy comes in, not in a uniform, but just shows up, pulls a badge out, tells the guy, "You've been accused of teaching illegally." And this guy's immediate reaction was to pull his passport out and show him the tourist visa, which of course confirmed that he was teaching illegally. And then he was taken to the police station, where they told him he had to pay 20,000 RMB or he was going to go to jail. I'm pretty sure that it was more like a shakedown situation where they knew that he was teaching illegally and saw a chance to make a buck. In either case, the boss of the place, I guess he probably smoothed things over. His parents, I guess, have some connections or something. And, well, now the guy's gonna run. Apparently this has happened to him about 3 times, and he's been kind of going around to different places in China. Hasn't been paid in like 3 months. So you see how you can roll the dice on that one. You can really end up in some trouble. In his case, he's lucky he hasn't, really gotten busted, but he's got no money, so he's in a bad situation. And when you're working illegally, you kind of put yourself in that state where you don't know what's going to happen. You're really rolling the dice. I'm sure you could get with someone that's got some influence or something, and they could probably pull some strings and keep you safe, but really not a good idea. If you look up a job and it says you don't need a college degree, or you can work on like whatever, a tourist visa or a student visa, probably don't do that. If you're here as a student, be a student. If you're here as, a tourist, then probably stick to tourism. Business, if you've got a business visa, well, use it for commerce and conducting business here. Probably not a good idea to go teach with it, but yeah, I mean, if you ignore that advice and you come over here and something like that happens to you, don't panic. The school hopefully will do something for you, I guess. Contact your embassy. Hopefully you're not Canadian or something, because another person I know contacted them and they didn't do anything for him. But I don't even know what advice to give in that situation. Just probably best not to do it in the first place. Now, that does bring up an interesting thing about schools and not paying people. Sometimes they'll suddenly terminate your contract, like they did to my friend here, and then refuse to pay you. In his case, they terminated his contract. The friends here. They terminated his contract, and then they told him not only did they fire him, but he had to pay them a big fine. And essentially what it was they don't want to pay him his salary. They figured out that they could hire illegal workers for half the price, and that's what it really came down to. So anyway, he didn't know any better, and so he was just going along with it. Then he talked to me, and then he figured it out, but they still haven't paid him his salary. If that happens, you should know you do have rights as a worker here. You should go to the labor board. You should talk to the education board. There's so many things you can do. Contact your embassy. Well, his embassy is the Canadian embassy. They didn't do anything for him. But yeah, there's so many things you can do. But definitely the labor board. I would start by threatening to contact the labor board. Tell the school, you need to pay me my salary for the work I did now, or else I'm going to go to the labor board. And if they still laugh at you and think that you're not going to do anything, then you can find out from, hopefully you've got a local friend, find out what the local news is, and maybe tell them, look, if you don't, not only am I going to the labor board, but I'm going to contact this local news people and you're going to get embarrassed in front of all your clients. So that's another option for you. But don't just take it, you know. Even if you're one of these people working on a tourist visa, I mean, if you work, then you want to get your pay. The school has more to lose than you if authorities find out about it. So you can threaten all kinds of things, tell them you'll go to the news, go to whatever, and they have to pay you. Yeah, get your pay. Hang on a second, I gotta go in this place and get some coffee. Okay, I'm back. I've got my coffee. Well, kind of. I don't know if this is actually coffee. You can see it here. It says it's iced coffee. I don't know. It tastes like it has coffee in it anyway, so it gives me some energy. I've been going in and buying this the last few days. There's a coffee shop at a mall a little ways away from here that I go sometimes. I actually almost thought of opening one of these coffee shops, but then I found out it was a really bad deal. You get this franchise with the people, and yeah, it was a bad deal. So anyway, I don't have a coffee shop, but I do have this iced coffee with a weird smiley face AA logo on it. That works for me. Let's see, where was I? So yeah, if you find yourself in a situation with an employer that doesn't want to pay your salary or tells you you've got to pay some kind of fine, in almost every case, they just don't want to pay. Well, you can make them pay. Remember the labor board. Remember to go to the local news. Every kind of authority you can think of. Contact your embassy. Contact the education board. I have to say, an important thing to have when you come to China is a Chinese friend. Someone that's a local that can help you with this stuff, because the labor board's not going to speak English. The news people aren't going to speak English. So it helps. And most likely a lot of the school people that are doing this to you probably don't really speak English. So again, it helps to have friends locally that can help you in those situations. And if the school knows you have friends, well, then they're probably not going to do that to you. If you come to China and you're working at a school, let's say you did all the stuff that we talked about. Sorry, we've got cart people coming through here. You did all the things I talked about before. You got the contract and you've come out to China, and then the school is like, we need to keep your documents to keep them safe, and we don't want you to go out or whatever. That's a big warning sign. You keep your documents. Don't ever let the school keep your documents. If they're doing that, it's so they can control you. My friend got himself into that situation too with his pay. Not only did they have his documents, they didn't want to pay him. Let me back up a little bit there. So they didn't want to pay him. They have all of his documents. Where did she go? The lady watching us there. They have all his documents, and they're basically threatening him, saying if he, doesn't cooperate with them, then they're not going to give him his documents back. So you can see how that goes. You keep your documents. If you have a residence permit, that's your residence permit. That's not something for the school to keep. Your definitely don't give them your passport. If you have any certificates, TEFL, yeah, they can have a copy of it, but you better keep it, because if things go sour, then you're going to want to have those things. Police report, if you have a copy of it, I'd suggest getting multiple copies from home just in case, because you might need it if you have to go get another job somewhere. Now again, I don't want to scare you into not coming to China. This doesn't happen to everybody. It doesn't happen to most people, but it does happen to a few. They know that you're from a foreign country and you don't know how things work here, and sometimes they'll try to take advantage of you. So just remember what I'm saying. When you come to China, immediately find local friends. Don't let the school keep your documents. Don't let your work keep your documents. Yeah, find local friends. Find as many, if there's a group of foreigners in the town or the city where you live, make sure you get in contact with them, because they're going to be able to give you advice and tell you what's going on, where to go, what to do. Even down to just things like where to get cheap vegetables if you want to cook at home. Or if you don't want to cook at home, where to go to eat so you don't have to pay a ton of money to eat at McDonald's every day. Because, well, McDonald's will burn up your paycheck real quick if you're working at one of these schools. So I prefer to go eat noodles. Of course, I'm married to a Chinese lady, and also I've been eating Chinese food for a long time. I say Chinese. She's American Chinese. She hates it when I say that, but I said it anyway. We'll see if that makes it into YouTube. Yeah. So. Oh, 你好. Ah, friendly neighbors. Curious about my my video adventures here. Yeah, we're back to where I started on my first episode. This isn't really anything special. It looks kind of cool, but it's actually just, I think, like some warehouse stuff. Some people living here. I love these old neighborhoods. I come out walking in these places all the time. Try to take pictures, post them on Instagram. Nobody cares about it, of course, but I still have fun taking the pictures. People in here, they always wonder what in the world I'm doing, taking photos of these places. But you can see it's kind of interesting. A lot of the big cities, they've demolished these places, so you don't get to see them anymore. But if you're in Shanghai or Beijing, you'll probably see a lot of this, if you go out wandering like I do. All about the adventure, right? So again, if you come out here, make sure that you do not let the school keep your documents. Find local friends, Chinese people. Find all the foreigner friends that you can find. Get into their groups. Participate in their activities. Well, to an extent, you don't want to get yourself into trouble. But yeah, definitely a good idea. You want to have as much of a support group as you possibly can so that people can't take advantage of you like that. Sorry, I have to dodge all these clotheslines. Which brings me to, if you're a guy or a girl, I know people, my wife would get really mad if I say this, but you should definitely find like if you're going to be here long term, of course, find a Chinese girlfriend, find a Chinese boyfriend, because they're going to be able to help you more than anything, you know. They actually care about what's going on with you if you're in a relationship, so they're going to help you out a lot if you end up in one of these situations where a school doesn't want to pay you. You know, I actually heard about an American lady out here, the same school that my friend got in a mess with, where they didn't want to pay him. They made her pay them 10,000 RMB, which is over $1,000 because she wanted to leave, which is outrageous. There's no way. Usually foreigners just leave. But of course, if the school has your documents, they hold them ransom. That's what happens. So every teacher that's apparently working at that school has allowed the school to have their documents. Again, do not do that. Those documents are yours. They're going to be safest with you. They're not going to be safe with the school. You want to keep those. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this little adventure. As I say again in these videos, like, subscribe, share, and I will see you next time.